Hello, I'm going to demonstrate what I call happy hips routine. I struggle from time to time with hip issues. I was diagnosed years ago with deformity of my left hip, and so I've had chronic pain, discomfort, and issues with that hip throughout my lifetime. Currently, pretty much pain free in that hip. I have had some issues with my right hip over the last few years. Again, I'm pain free, but this is the routine I try to do when I'm restless or if I feel the nag creeping back in. That's what I like to call that persistent pain and discomfort that I may get. I like to do, say, 10 to 20 repetitions of each exercise. This is a little bit longer routine than the one I do, a 6 minute while my coffee is brewing routine. I pull a few of these exercises, but this is the full routine. Shouldn't take very long at all. A couple things I want you to think about is I like to have a chair, or I often stand at the bottom of my stairs and hold on to the bottom. Something that you can hold on to. You will improve your balance, of course, while doing these, but it's less about the balance and more about focusing on the exercise. We're going to really focus on just the hips and the muscles that support the hips. This is mobility. I like to do this first thing in the morning to get the blood flowing. If I'm a bit restless or a little stiff, I like to do these exercises. Keep in mind, you're going to be holding on. There is one, I'll add this, but this is not necessary equipment-wise. So really the only equipment that you might find necessary would be a chair or something to hold on to. I want you to keep in mind, I call it the suck and tuck. And so try to pull the belly button towards your spine or suck that gut in. It's also a deep, for women, it's called the Kegels. We're really trying to stabilize a muscle deep within that helps support our low back. And then the tuck is tucking the bottom in and bringing the pelvis forward. So I call it the suck and tuck. I try to maintain this, relax the body, and breathe throughout. That right there is an exercise in of it itself that can take time to learn and naturally engage. So that's engaging that low core to support the low back. It helps alleviate, for me, low back pain and hip pain. But it's also important in strengthening while we're doing these exercises. So the first exercise I like to start out with is I go into hip flexion into extension and breathe in and out, relax that body, suck and tuck, and we'll do 10. So we're going to bring our knee up into flexion and then bring it down into extension. I pull my toe towards my knee so that foot is really flexed. Everything is nice and rigid in this leg. Let's do 7 more. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and let's switch sides. I want you to think about controlled movements here. So I'm not just swinging my leg real wildly. Think this is a morning upon rising, trying to wake that body up. So we don't want to cause any muscles to tweak out, spaz on you. So nice and controlled, lift into flexion and back into extension. I try to stay upright because I'm thinking about my hip extensor muscle and not as much of my glute. If you lean forward, it will engage the glute. But again, this is flexion into extension. Let's do 5 more. And 4, 3, 2, last one. So I'm doing that to target the flexors and extensor muscles. Now I want to target the abductor and adductor, outer and inner thigh muscles of the hip. And this one can be, many of you may be familiar with the side leg raise, right? This is an abduction, the outside muscles, the hip. So This is the act of abduction, your leg abducting away from your body. But there's muscles alongside your leg that are also called the abductor muscles. So we're using those muscles to move our hip into abduction. But I like to kill two birds with one stone here. So you're going to, when you bring your leg up, you also want to bring it forward and then up, so then you can sweep it down and across the center of your body, still trying to keep your hips facing forward, hips and shoulders. So let me move this obstacle out of the way here. And it's going to look like this. Up into abduction and then down into adduction. Breathing in and out. Stand nice and tall. Suck and tuck. Breathing in and out. Let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. That's for one side. The other side, and make yourself comfortable. Move your body to fit. If you're using a fixture, if you can move the chair, make it work for you. And when I talk about flexing, so watch this. I pull my toe towards my knee, and I do almost all these exercises with my toe pulled up and that ankle and foot flexed. Looks like that. Okay, other side. Again, move my obstacle. And you're going to lift and pull down through the center. Breathing in and out. Try to relax that other leg. Let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, woo! Last one. It's burning. You know what burns? The leg that's holding me up. That is normal. Don't get worried that you're not doing it correctly. You are, as long as you're moving with controlled, methodical movements. The next one, oh yes, high knee marches. So marching, and we're going to be in flexion when we're doing this. You can hold on to your chair. Either hold on to, this might be a little difficult to get the knees up, so standing on the side, suck and tuck, relax that body, and we'll bring these knees up. Here's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's do 20 more. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. You might need to get a breath of air. Woo. All right, this is not a cardio workout, but it can become a cardio workout. The next one, I call these hip openers, or I've heard the term barn door. Now's a good time to explain. If you're looking for perfection, and perfection's preventing you from doing an exercise that might benefit you even without perfection. We hear lots of people that say there's a right way and a wrong way. That's perfection. So I'm doing a hip opener, and I'm going to do the best I can to maintain my forward hip position, but I might move a little bit, and that's okay, because the goal I am trying to meet with this is an external and internal movement of my hips. I can still feel that, so I know I'm benefiting. So work on perfecting your skill, but don't wait for perfection, right? If you can't do it perfectly, you don't do it at all. Don't do that. Work on perfection. So suck and tuck, relax that body, and what you're going to do is you're going to bring your knee up like this, and then you imagine the knee being pulled open, and you're opening that barn door, and then you close it and bring it back down. Whew! Let's do 5 and 4, 3, 2, Last one. So you see how this side pivots some? There are experts out there that would say that's not right, you're not bracing right. I'm not going to listen to that, because if I can't do it to that level of expertise, then why do it at all? I'm not getting any benefits from it, which I know I'm getting benefits. This is how I've worked my way out of chronic pain with my hips. This routine is what I do to help as so the left hip is the nag from birth. It's the defective one. The right hip was an illness, and got septic bursitis in there, had a few other things going on. Once we were able to get up and over that hump, I rarely have any kind of nag in that hip. When she starts to raise her head, I do these exercises. I should do them daily, but these I do them daily when I'm hurting. Try to do these daily, consistent, especially if you're living with and struggling with hip pain, low back pain. All right, let's get to the other side. You're going to open and close and down. 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Now you can do 10 on each side, but I'm going to introduce one more thing. Up and over. This obstacle, this is why I have this. All right? So open and close is external and internal rotation, but our hips do this kind, at least they were supposed to do that, and then as we age and live life, and we use less of this, it gets stiff, sore, and used to its own way. One way to start retraining that hip to move in its fullest range of motion is up, over, around, back, up, over, and down. So you could do 3 to 5 of these, breathing in and out. And I'm trying not to lean too far forward when I'm doing this. This is pretty high. As you can see, it comes up to my waist. So find something that works for you and your height. Let's see. Can you see that? Over, around, back around, and over. Up. Woo! Feel the burn. Let's do one more, since you might not have the equipment to do this one yet. So that I call hip opener, over and around. I'm looking at my notes. Okay. Standing clamshell. So anybody who's gone to PT for hip stuff, your PT has you lay on a table, puts a band around your legs, and has you open them in a clamshell. I like the standing version. It's very effective, and I can't remember. I think I came across this exercise when I was trying to find exercises for bursitis of the hip. And so this gets into the piriformis. It's a muscle in the glutes, deep in underneath the glutes, kind of wrapped in there, a couple layers deep. And what you want to do here for it to be effective is to pull your heel up so you have a 90-degree angle here with your knee. But then imagine you're a dog peeing on a fire hydrant and you're standing nice and tall. Woo! That's a deep move. Only going to a range that feels okay. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Really trying to keep that heel pulled up and keep that leg into a 90-degree angle. So let's try it again on this side here. Pull that heel up. Stand nice and tall. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Whew! There's 3, 4, and 5, and back down. So those are the standing clamshell. Hip hiking, we go back into this position, but now keep your stance leg, the leg that's holding you up, fairly straight. And what you're going to do is you're going to drop your hip down and pull it up. So we're not bending that knee, this knee. we're dropping it down and pulling it up. So if you had, you know how you hitch a kid up on your waist back in the day, or you might still do it, that's what we're doing here. Shoot for 3 to 5. Woo! Let's do one more. And we'll switch sides. Conan O'Brien, when he would come out onto stage, he would do this hip hike thing, and I always think of him when I do hip hiking, of him pulling his fancy pants up on stage. It would be when they would introduce him and he would first come out onto the stage to start his monologue. He would always start with a little hip hiking. So if you know what I'm talking about, that's a good visual here. Use that. Relax your body, pull the hip up, and then drop it down. Maintain a nice straight stance leg. I do a soft knee. It's a slightly bent. Do 2 more. Last one. And then just some side to side. If you're home, nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. And then into some hula hoops. About 5. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Reverse direction. Go the other way. Woo! Relax that body. 1 more. And then gyrate. Okay, again, nobody's watching. You all are watching me. You're home. You move these hips in these ranges of motion. Let's do 2 more. There we go. All right, happy hips. Give this a try. It doesn't take much time. I yap, right? I have a tendency to talk a lot, so hopefully everything that comes out of my mouth is helpful or inspiring. Give yourself 15 minutes to run through this routine. Shoot for 5, 10 to 20 repetitions of each exercise and see how you do. You can do these daily because they're not load-bearing exercises. They are mobility. I prefer upon waking, a way to wake up those hips. And if you find that every day is a bit too much, skip every other day, but try to get consistent with this. And then add your load-bearing exercises, your walking, jumping, and stomping into your regular routine. And you should start to see some changes in how your hips affect you, right? And which then will help your low back and knees might start to respond in a positive way. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me. You've got my email, and message me through Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Have a great day. Happy hips!